This is Environmental Science 2, Chapter 12, Part 2 on Waste. In this portion of the video lecture, we will be discussing options for recycling and discussing different ways to take care of and dispose of solid waste. The key to taking care of our municipal waste problem is probably producing less waste. Recycling is one of those things that everybody can do. Recycling products from recycled materials can save energy, water, and other resources. Recycling, I would say, in the 21st century for developed countries like the United States is becoming more of a mainstream, widespread concept. It did take quite a while for us to get to that place. But I would say that the United States, most regions of the country have recycling programs that are either provided to the public through the sanitation service or have recycling centers where people can drop off their solid waste items to be recycled. So first, in order to recycle, we have to collect those materials and sort them out. There are different processes for recycling paper as opposed to glass, as opposed to aluminum. So once the recycled items get to the recycling center, those are sorted. Generally, a lot of times still in plants, this is done by hand. So once the materials are collected and sorted, they go into the recycling facility. In some cases, some recycled materials can just be cleaned, or in some cases they may need to be melted and reformed, but in some way, shape, or form, they will be made to be used again. One important thing about recycling that I think most people forget is that in order to kind of complete the circle, you really do need to purchase recycled materials, or in some cases use materials for other things in other ways. But recycled materials, what helps those recycling facilities and the upgrades to those facilities is using and purchasing recycled materials. Composting is what a person can do to recycle their organic waste. So composting is when you combine soil and yard trimmings, so leaves, grass trimmings, those kinds of things, with organic food waste. And as the food breaks down, bacteria will break it down and make it a little more manageable and actually usable as a recycled product. You can actually purchase composted soil, but you can also make your own. There are ways of kind of do-it-yourself compost piles. They also have kits that come pre-made that you can use. But compost is soil-like material from all of that decomposed animal and vegetable material. It is great for gardening and growing flowers and the like, since we have all of those good nutrients and materials already in the soil. So you can actually take the decomposed animal and vegetable material, and instead of throwing it away in a landfill, you can actually use it to create more animal and vegetable products. Changing materials is another way that we can help reduce the amount of municipal waste. A lot of things tend to be overpackaged today. A lot of products, you open the box and there's a plastic bag that's surrounding a styrofoam insert or a cardboard insert with another component to the pieces of whatever you have purchased, also sealed in a plastic bag and maybe have a cardboard or styrofoam insert. There's a lot of unnecessary packaging in products today, mostly to ease the consumer as far as the product not becoming damaged. If there's so much packaging that whatever has been purchased can't move inside that box, then it will get to its destination, generally not broken. But there is a lot of very toxic materials that go into a lot of these packaging products that do not degrade out in nature. Some companies are trying to put their research into alternative packing materials that could be degradable in some way. So there are the photo-degradable plastics. These types of plastics will break down when exposed to sunlight. So the positive aspect of this is with the plastics, it would break down over time exposed to sunlight. The negative aspect of this is many people don't realize or wouldn't realize that plastics in their packaging may be photodegradable, and they would throw those away and it would get buried in a landfill. And photodegradable plastics need that sunlight to break down. What's becoming a lot more common in packing materials is the change of the styrofoam packing peanut to ones that are actually made out of plant materials. A lot of the packing peanuts in certain things that are shipped are made of cornstarch. So they're actually biodegradable. They can also break down in water, and the water would not be contaminated with toxics because cornstarch is an organic material. So cornstarch mixes to break down those plastics into smaller pieces, again, reducing that amount of municipal waste that we are putting into a landfill. This has been Environmental Science 2, Chapter 12, Part 2 on waste.